It's live.
My video is not even wow. People are nice up on my.
It's live and people are here.
Okay.
So keep going.
I'm down. I'm completely down.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Archie. And this is the Courageous Conversations Connect space. Good morning, everyone. We are having our quarantine talks. We're having a few technological difficulties.
Can you widen the screen? Because it's really hard for me to. I need you just give me a second. Widen it, and then go back.
All right.
Okay, so you're on. I'm off. Okay, we're in. Okay, all right.
All right. So Morgan is working on his technological difficulties over there across the, I wanted to say hall, across the room. And we are live. So we're going to keep going. Good morning, Charla. How are you? And there are some other people on. So did you put IG on, babe? Yeah. So good morning, IG family. Good morning, my Facebook family. And good morning, YouTube family. This is the Courageous Conversations Connect space. I am yours truly, Dr. Archie, and this is our quarantine talks. It is April 13th, 2020. Yes, it is. And this is our 9th week in quarantine. And this is a beautiful day. So let's get started. So you know the drill. One of the things as we wait for some folks to come on, love your theme music. Thank you, Charla. I appreciate it. That's Morgan's. All the behind the scenes things is Morgan's. And as he's working on his technological difficulties. But for those of you who have been on and joining us in our crew, you know that we believe that we have a crew here that we're creating. Crew stands for Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. So we want more people to see what we're doing. So please share on your pages so that they can actually see what we're doing every morning from Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. when we're having our quarantine talks. If you haven't yet, please go over to our YouTube page and subscribe. It's the Ask Dr. Archie YouTube page, AskDrArgie. Hit the notification button so that you can get notifications of the things that we're doing. And also, if you're on Facebook, please hit the subscribe or type subscribe in the message box. And so that way you'll get notifications of our special events and promotions that we're doing. I'm excited today. Oh my goodness, there's a lot going on. After the quarantine talks, will be doing at 2. I will be doing a webinar for the Minority Fellowship Program. There are doctoral fellows from all over the country, and I'm going to be helping them to tackle what it looks like to be a leader and be yourself in the midst of a pandemic while having courageous conversations. So that's from 2 to 4. That's a private meeting, but I just wanted you all to know what we're doing out here in Philadelphia, if you will. And then after that, at 6 o'clock, I'll be having a webinar conversation with the Barristers Association of Philadelphia. I was in their general body meeting back in the fall. They've asked me to come back, and we're going to tackle what life looks like for the young attorney and how to maintain mental health. So we're doing all those things in addition to seeing clients. If you know someone, or if you yourself are having a level of stress, this conversation is for you. We're talking about stress busters today, right? And creating stress busters and ways to revitalize your strengths, right? And if you're having more significant problems, y'all know myself as well as many others that are in the mental health profession, they're actually doing teletherapy. So you can reach me at 215-789-6999. You can reach out that way. You can get the book, Courageous Conversations Connects, at drrgconnects.com. Or you can just email us at drrg@connectionsmatterllc.com. Be sure to like and share. As you all know, that helps with the algorithms. Give me my thumbs up, my smiley faces, my hearts. It's a beautiful day, right? And we're safe and we are well, then that's the most important thing. So thumbs up, smiley faces, hearts, that all helps with the algorithms. And we just want, as Morgan always says, we want you to share this information because we want more people to have it. We want to create a movement here. That was the goal 9 weeks ago. And even prior to quarantine, quite frankly, it was a goal to create a movement where we could connect relationships for epic wins so that we elevate on our mental health, we elevate on our relationships, we elevate on our families, we elevate on ways to communicate effectively so that we can live the best life that we have here. Life is short. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. So what are you doing? How are you elevating your level of wellness, mental wellness, in order to have healthy relationships? That's our goal. So we're going to take a break. All right. We're going to take.
Back in and try to reboot a little bit. So give it a second. And,
okay. What do you want me to do?
so just two. Okay.
Okay. What do you want me to tell them now?
Just commercial.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, sorry. All right, we're going to take a quick break from our sponsors, and we're going to be right back. We have a few technological difficulties, but we're on. So. You are here. So we are back. Thank you so much for continuing to join us this morning on the Courageous Conversations Connect space, where we are having our quarantine talks. You all know the drill. I see Michelle on. Good morning, Michelle. Princess is on. Good morning, Princess, and Charlotte and Tracy. Oh, bonus daughter. She's a princess. I thought it was somebody named Princess. That's what my husband calls my bonus daughter, Princess. So Jessica's on. Good morning, Jessica and Jace. Bonus mom and Gigi loves you. So listen, we're going to get in our positions, right? As we were having some technological difficulties, you all know that doesn't stop anything. We're going to continue to go on and have these conversations no matter what. I do apologize for not being here yesterday for you guys. I had some time sensitive things that I needed to work on. And so we took a quick break, but we are back today. So let's get in our positions. Please let me know who you are breathing for. It's allergy season, so my allergies are kicking up. So please forgive me if I sound nasally. Who are you breathing for? I was watching the news last night, and I saw the best friend of Ahmaud Arbery, who was on the news, and he was just in tears and distraught. So I'm breathing for him. I'm breathing for the best friend of the young man that was gunned down back in February, and all the people that his family that no longer get to experience him in the flesh, but know that he is there with him in spirit. I'm also breathing for the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium that they're out there. I think yesterday they were in Chester, and there was lines. Pastor Marshall Mitchell's showed a video where there were lines that went like 5 minutes away, for people trying to get tested, and no one had tested in that area. The government is not doing that. So in certain areas, so they are doing the darn thing, and they're going out there and hitting the ground running to make sure that people that are not getting the services that they deserve and are experiencing disparities in health and access, that those people are getting the treatment, or at least getting the testing that they deserve in the midst of this pandemic. So I'm breathing for them, and I'm breathing for myself, right? Because if we have breath in our bodies, we have another opportunity to get it right. We have another opportunity to experience life. We have another opportunity to experience abundance of joy and love and peace and happiness and contentment and serenity. So I'm breathing oxygen in. We're going to breathe in. You know the drill. For 5 minutes, for 10 seconds, hold, and then let it out. We'll breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. And I want you all to practice this throughout the day as well. All right. Thumbs and middle fingers, if you want to do it that way. You can put your hands on top of each other and put them on your lap, or your hands on your sides. Arch your back. Morgan said the other day, men don't wiggle. So the women can wiggle your shoulders, and men can do whatever y'all do. You can arch your backs and loosen up. Men loosen up, right? This is what Morgan said, men loosen up. All right, so a little fun today. So just relax yourselves as best you can. And at the sound of my voice, I'm going to count to 3. I want you to breathe in through your nose, hold it for 10 seconds, breathe out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. And out. Good. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. Build that lung capacity, right? Be ready. If anything comes at us, we'll be ready with strong lungs. Breathe in. And out. One last time, make it count. Big breath, breathe in through the nose. And out. That was good, right? That felt good. As we continue with the show, keep sharing with our crew who you are breathing for, if it's yourself. And we're going to move in to, or if it's others, the essential workers are still out there. Don't forget about them, guys. They go out there so that we can stay in here. And for those of us, as I had said on Monday, I had heard a talk from TD Jakes, who was very upset. It was a very profound talk about the weather getting nice. And I'm calling the weather, everybody looks for good weather, right? You know, especially in regions like this when you incur winters, although our winter wasn't that bad. But the weather can be, in some ways, with this pandemic and this COVID-19 still out there, a little bit of a weapon of mass distraction. That's what I'm calling it, because when the weather's nice, we want to go out. When the weather's not so nice, we might want to hunker down. And so as the weather gets nice, don't be fooled. Don't let the atmosphere fool you. This virus is still out there. It's still killing people. Although the curve is flattened, it's become flattened in some areas because they've abided by the quarantine requirement, but then it's escalated and there's hot spots in other areas, right? So don't be fooled. And don't be influenced by peer pressure. Young people are not the only ones that get influenced by peer pressure. We as adults get influenced by peer pressure as well. Oh, it's not that bad. You can go to the hairstylist, or you can go get your hair cut, or you can go to the park, or you can go hang out. The weather's nice. Look, see, nobody's having a problem, if you will. We can go to the park. They did that in Central Park. And, you know, that was even a couple of weeks ago before they actually had hit their, flattened their curve, if you will. And I thought to myself, these people don't even understand. This virus is still out there, and it's coming for everybody. And if there's one thing that we have learned, it is non-discriminatory. There's a lot of inequities out there. We know that. There's a lot of health disparities out there. We know this. There's many, many injustices out there. That said, this virus is non-discriminatory. It really doesn't care about any of the differences that we as humans care about, right? In terms of the socioeconomic levels and, the religious differences and perhaps maybe even your gender differences or racial differences, sexual orientation. It doesn't care about any of that. It actually just wants to get inside of you, and then it wreaks havoc on your body. It also doesn't care whether you're a child or whether you're a senior person or whether you're a middle-aged person. This is why we need to elevate ourselves both physically in terms of all the things that you can do. Are you drinking enough water, right? Are you hydrating enough? Are you getting good nutrition, eating healthy, good fruits and vegetables, right? Try to eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Maybe get your smoothie on. Are you building your immune system? Are you doing those things, right? Morgan says, oh, you got the question?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Let me just tap this and tap this. All right. So anyway, just curious. There is a continual conversation around the term herd immunity. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but what they're saying in essence is that there is an inevitable reality that this virus is not going away. So the argument is the more we do this horizontal term is push people away and we quarantine, that then as we begin to go back into society, into our normal way of living, there's going to be reinfection. So just want to see what you guys think about this whole term of herd immunity, and just want to get some feedback on that, because that's what they're saying. They're saying is there's no way to avoid infection, and that in essence what happens is our bodies chemically at some point are going to have to get the immune system up to be able to fight this virus off, and that we just can't wait on a vaccine because it takes too long. Just want to get your thoughts about that. That's all. I want to pop in and see what you guys think about it. Herd immunity.
All right, thank you, Morgan. So I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are about that herd immunity and, how we're faring. This is 9 weeks in, right? So I have encouraged people to cut ourselves some slack, right? Can you all, I don't know how many people are on, do you all remember what SLAC stands for? I'll kind of wait to see if you all can tell me what the acronym SLAC stands for as we cut ourselves some slack. Allison said, or it's Allison says, hi, Dr. RG. One of my colleagues put a post on the other day that asked where people are in their quarantine stage based on LinkedIn. Okay, I thought it was that you meant IG. LinkedIn, where people are in their quarantine stage based on a model ideal of where we all should be. Interesting. So this is, and I read your next part, which was my response to him, was that we all are facing different circumstances. Models are idealistic, not realistic. I think we are being too hard on others walk through this pandemic experience. So interesting, Allison. So think about models, right? They gave us models for even how many people that they thought would die from this pandemic. And it went from, if we followed the social distancing and the quarantine, it went down to 60,000. Well, we're past that now, right? We're almost at, I think, 80,000 deaths, right? And well over 1 million cases in the United States, right? And so those models then escalated up to over 100,000 deaths. And you're right, Allison, from the perspective of models they're sort of an estimate of what's going to happen, but it's not always based on what's realistic, because there are contextual variables, as we researchers and clinicians call it. Those are things that you can't really account for, or extraneous variables: where you live, how you're living, the community that you're living in, whether there are peaks in your area or they're flattened, the curve has been flattened, what people are saying in your own community that actually influence you one way or another. So what I'm saying is, let's cut ourselves some slack, right? If you guys haven't shared or don't remember what's slack, okay. You want me to wait? You want me to wait till somebody gets it, or tell them? All right. I'm going to tell you again. So hopefully you'll remember it when we come on the next time. Slack. Cut yourself some slack. I do think that we're hard on each other, but we have to hold each other accountable in a caring and loving way. That doesn't mean that we just let you do whatever you want to do or turn a blind eye, but we say, okay, this, as Charlotte said, this is no joke, right? This virus is no joke, and it's coming at us, right? And so we need to hold each other accountable. Slack stands for S, how are you showing up? How are you showing up in your family? How are you showing up at your job if you're working? How are you showing up in your community? Are you making a difference? Are you trying to evaluate and sort of take a self-inventory of what you've been through thus far and what other people have been through, and what we can do together to not just survive this, but to thrive even during and after this, right? That's possible, but that means we have to show up. We can't stick our head in the mud or the sand. We can't act like it's not happening. We can't say, I'm going to be in denial and I'm not going to accept this and I'm just going to do what I want to do. That's going to get you harmed, possibly ill, or it's going to cause you to harm someone else. So how are we showing up? That's the S. L stands for lead. How are you leading the pack? Are you a leader? And you don't have to be in a big corporation and be a CEO to be a leader. You are the CEO of your life, even if you are home alone, right? And you don't have to be lonely because of social media, right? Social isolation, we said early on, doesn't mean social distance. Social distancing does not mean social isolation or psychological isolation or emotional isolation. We can stay connected, but how are you leading your pack? How are you leading your crew? This is the way that we, Morgan and I, are choosing to lead our crew in these conversations, creating a safe space for us to connect and process what we're going through. What ideas do you have for things that you were doing? Last night I was on with my friend Charlie Lewis. He started early on around the same time doing his Corona Chronicles and giving information. And now I think once a week, or he does it Tuesday through Thursday. And then I believe in the afternoon, he does a lunch conversation as well. So what things are you doing? Everybody has a gift. Are you connecting with your children? Are you having regular meetings? Did you do your SSR, your safety care, your self-care plan, your self-care plan, and your relational care plan? Did you do those things? And if not, or did you create a schedule? How are you leading? Next, A, acknowledgement. Listen, this is hard, right? That's why I say cut yourself some slack. We need to go on and acknowledge that this is not an easy thing, that we were blindsided, that nobody expected this. I'm honest with myself that when I saw that cruise ship and when I saw the pictures on the news of the people in China, I was like, oh, that's such a shame that they're quarantined. And in my mind, it never registered that we would be here in the United States and be quarantined for well over 2 months with no end in sight. It didn't register in my head. I know I'm not the only one. So go on and acknowledge that this is difficult, but we have to recognize and balance that out with this too shall pass, right? And the question is, since it will pass eventually, and because it's a marathon and not a sprint, and that this is temporary inconvenience for long-term gain, the question is, how will you be post COVID-19? Will you do the necessary things so that you'll have a testimony? A test turns into a testimony, or the mess turns into a message if we stay well and we can grow through this. So that's the A, acknowledge how hard it is, but also accept that we can do this, right? And then C, this is slack, cut yourself some slack. The C stands for commit. Are you committed for the long haul? This is a problem with most of us in this culture. I think that many of us are entitled. We've had way too much access. We've had not all of the Black and brown people in some cases, because there are those disparities. But in general, we've had a lot of access. We can do what we want to do, when we want to do it, and how we want to do it. And so now that we're not having that level of access to an access, we're upset. But the truth is that if we're quarantined in our homes and we can go from room to room, not everybody can do that. That's a blessing. There are some people that would love to be in a home, the home that we're in, on a computer, having this kind of conversation, and they're not able to, right? So when you think about your commitment, are you committed for the long haul? And that's with anything, quite frankly. I've worked with, or unfortunately seen, a lot of loss and death, even in my own family. I've seen a lot of illness and sickness. And what I know for sure is the people who survive this, the people who thrive, are the people that dig in and they commit to the marathon. They commit to finishing it. Are you committed to finishing this? We can finish this together, but we have to finish it well. And the only way that we finish this well is we level up on our mental health, our physical health, our emotional health, our spiritual health. We develop our relationships so that we can stay connected, and then we commit to growing through this and getting to the other side better, not bitter. So that's your commitment. And then finally, slack. So I'm gonna test y'all later. The K stands for kind. It's simple kindness. Have you today, I want to challenge everybody to embark on a journey of a random act of kindness to someone. What can you do? Not because you're obligated, not because you're dutiful, not because you have to, somebody tells you to. It's just a random act of kindness. Can you text someone a positive message? I want to give a shout out to my friend, Roxanne. She sent me, and I didn't get a chance to respond, a text this morning, and it came at the right time. Roxanne Robinson, I don't know if you're watching, but I thank you for your text because it basically said that God had told her to speak to me in the moment and she wanted to be obedient. And it came to me at the right moment. It gave me such joy. And it's this feeling of just refreshed connection with someone who I haven't seen in a while. And she's experiencing, I'm sure lots of things given the loss of her husband not that long ago and being a mom and a working mom at that. And now we have this quarantine. But as opposed to her focusing on her own self in that moment, she focused on me and what God told her to tell me. And I appreciate it. I don't take it lightly when people take their time out to share their heart. So challenge yourself. Be kind. In the moment that you're feeling like you're not having a great day, stop for a minute. Think about all you have. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have and be kind, not just to others, be kind to yourself. Some of us aren't kind to ourselves. We don't cut ourselves slack. We actually level up on not being kind to ourselves, telling ourselves that we're not good enough or we're not worthy or we're not valuable, or we do things to sabotage our health and well-being, like going out with no mask in the midst of a pandemic. And I'm not suggesting that if you go to a place where somebody else has been social distancing and quarantining, that's a terribly bad thing, because we need community. We need connection. We even, Morgan was talking about herd immunity. Herd immunity, we need that connection. There's a new term coming out, called touch hunger, which means that we are deprived of physical touch. So if that is the case, we had a friend or several friends actually, who have animals, a cat and dog, or, pets. They can actually be therapeutic to us as well as humans. That said, we still need to create physical touch. And if you don't have someone to touch, guess what? Hug yourself. You matter. And it sounds hokey, but it's just hug on yourself and love on yourself and be kind to yourself and accept all of you, the good and the bad. Know that you are worthy of all this because you're here. So none of us are here not on purpose. When I say have a beautiful day on purpose from my heart to yours, my heart to yours, I mean it. Because on purpose means that we set our intentions to do and be all that we are designed and destined to be today. Not too far in the future, not too far in the past. Like I said, this is a marathon, so we can't think too far in the future because that's not going to help us. That's going to stress us out. Today, what can you do for yourself? What can you do for somebody else? Can you cut yourself some slack? I want to hear from you all. Have you cut yourself some slack now that you know what it is? Have you leveled up on your ability to acknowledge what you've been through and where you're at? Give me some thumbs up. Give me some smiling faces. Give me some hearts. Let me know. Share this, of course. We want you to share with the rest of the crew, right? We're creating a community. We're creating a movement where we level up on healthier relationships. You all know that the stats say the trends are that mental health is being affected more than ever before because of COVID-19. It was challenging prior to this. People had morbidity issues around their depression and anxiety and fears prior to this, right? So you can only imagine that there are many homes, many people that have experienced more distress since COVID-19, whether it's your insecurities of food or finances or insecurities of your emotions or your relationship, insecurities around whether or not you will be there. There's this thing we call anticipatory anxiety that you don't have in the moment, but you're anticipating that it's going to happen and then you rev yourself up internally because of what's happening in our atmosphere. So if that's you, or if that's someone we don't have to suffer in silence. This is a platform for us to process. Share what your struggle is. Share if you're stressed out, right? Many of us are. share what you've done. There's some things that you actually can do to help to decrease your anxiety, as we've been talking about, in addition to cutting yourself some slack. There's some things that you can do. We can work on managing our time more efficiently. There is a difference, quite frankly, between stress and anxiety. Most of us incur stress, multiple stressors, right? Which we've talked about some of them. But the anxiety is the physical manifestation that develops inside of us as a result of the stressors that we are experiencing. And stressors related to that have to do with, this COVID-19. So how many of you have been able to keep it moving, keep it peaceful, right? Peaceful, creating the atmosphere of peaceful energy is a thing. So if you haven't done that, there's some very simple things you can do. We talked about music. You all know the 5 M's. I don't have to say that again. The last M is music. Set the music atmosphere with music. Burn some candles. Listen to a soft podcast. Decrease your stressors by listening to the soft atmosphere or listening to silence, quite frankly, in the midst of a beautiful day. All of those things can help you to level up on your peace of mind and decrease your anxiety and your stressors. Listen, stay with us. We're going to take a quick break from our sponsors, and we will be right back. Let's keep talking about stress busters. Hey, this is Dr. RG here, Courageous Conversations Connect Space, and we are having our quarantine talks. This is a rich discussion about stress busters. What are your stressors? What are you most stressing out about in the 9th week? I mean, we know what most people are stressing. What's your story? Where are your wins? Were you really stressed in the very beginning and you began to settle into this and recognize that, okay, I'm committed for the long haul? Did your stress decrease from that point? Were you doing things to actively be a change agent in your own life and help yourself? There is something to be said for accessing the power that we have within us to help ourselves. I call it self-soothing, right? That's a thing. It's a very important part of our coping mechanism. And I'm not talking about, that levels of mental distress have elevated, levels of alcohol consumption have elevated, levels of domestic violence and child abuse have elevated. Those are things that have elevated. However, we do have the opportunity to access resources like the resources that I provide and many of my other mental health professionals. That's a real thing. We're doing lots of teletherapy out there, but you can also help yourself, self-soothe, keep your mind, body, and spirit healthy, right? As I said before the break, create a peaceful atmosphere. What does that look like? Tell me what y'all are doing. You know how, we talk about having a prayer closet. Are there places and spaces within your own home where you elevate your prayer life? Are there places and spaces where, do you take a long shower or a long bubble bath? Or and I get it. If you're home with your kids and you're homeschooling while you're working, you may not have time for all of that. I get it. Okay. It's not the easiest thing, but it's necessary. And so even if you don't have time to take a long shower, a long bubble bath, what are you doing at the end of your night? Are you practicing good sleep hygiene? Do you take your phone into the bed with you, right? Or do you turn it off, do not disturb, right? Move the gadgets out of the bed, turn the TV off. By the way, stop watching. If you have TV, I've stopped doing it. I do not have the TV even in the background. In the very beginning, I wanted to see what the stats were so I could stay up with it and I would have it in the background. I have it completely off and only turn it on periodically throughout the day to see what's going on, or I can find it on my news feed. And then I put soft music in the background, What are you guys doing? What have you done to help yourself to soothe? Are you managing your time more effectively? That's really, really important, right? Because a lot of my clients have told me that in the very beginning, they didn't do what I asked them to do, some of them, and to create a schedule and to manage their time with a wake up time and a bedtime. They sort of acted like this was a vacation or a staycation, but they found themselves being unproductive. And they also found themselves not feeling good about themselves because they were losing days, they were losing opportunity to create innovative ideas. How many of you all know? And tell me if you created innovative things in these last 9 weeks that you probably would never have done had you not been home. Charlotte says, I had to turn the TV off too. Yes, girl. Yes. You know, it's not healthy right now for us to watch too much TV. Now, there are some people who have leveled up on watching some programs. I know I got a chance to watch Becoming, the documentary, this past weekend. I probably would never have gotten an opportunity to do that if I wasn't home. And that was awesome. I actually want to watch it again with Morgan because he didn't see all of it, but it was really, really good. Morgan and I have been watching, or sort of been watching, or what's the name? Ozark. I find that fascinating because, of course, anything with dealing with family, I find fascinating. So that's something. And I think that we're going to do some binge watching on Insecure because we've got a project coming up that has to do with that. So we're probably going to binge watch on that. Don't have a whole lot of time because we've been really, really busy, but that's something new that I've been doing that. And you all know I'm about to get my gardening on, which is going to be really, really therapeutic for me. So what are you all doing? Tell me, Morgan, what's IG saying?
IG Love Allison says self-love first.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is always helpful. Then she had a confession. She says, my laptop and phone and earplugs are in my bed.
Allison, poor sleep hygiene. That is poor sleep hygiene, Allison. Morgan doesn't like me to use that term.
No judgment.
No judgment. Morgan's like, don't say hygiene, say something else. But it is. It's poor sleep hygiene. So I want you, Allison, to get the earplugs and the phones and the gadgets and the computers, get it out of the bed. Find another space for it in another room. The bed should be for relaxation. If you have a TV, I do have a TV in the bedroom and I do watch it sometime, Morgan and I, but I tend not to go to sleep on it. I will get up and turn it off and put my sleep mask on. I need darkness and I'll put my meditation on or my mindfulness music. And that's what I try to go to sleep on. So see if that will help you, because remember, the brain is the biggest part of our existence, if you will. It is driving everything. Our neurological system is really functioning at a high level, and if the brain is still running at high speed like it is doing throughout the day, it's going to be hard for you to rest. And then we wonder why when we wake up we're not well rested. Well, that's why, because we're listening to things in the bed when we should be sleeping or resting. Rest is extremely important. It gives our cells a chance to rejuvenate. It allows us to rest our minds, body, and spirit, to refuel for the next day so that we can go at it, so that we can make a difference. Charlotte said something about Michelle Obama. Listen, y'all watch that documentary if you're interested. I found it to be fascinating. I'm also fascinated with what goes on behind the scenes anyway, or, with the Obamas in particular. Not their life so much now, but their account of how their life was for 8 years when they were in office. And boy, do I miss them. So I thought it was really good. I have a confession. I haven't gotten the book, Becoming, yet. Did I get that book back? No, I do. Yeah, I did. I did get the book. I just haven't read it. I haven't had time to read it yet. And then she has, it's in the office. I got the book, and then there was a workbook or a journaling book that came out shortly after. I think that came out a couple of months ago. So hopefully I'll get a chance to watch that.
But you know what? I put the question, but nobody's really. I'm really curious to hear what everybody's saying to your question about what are they doing to self-soothe.
Yeah. When that's on. Yeah. So what are you guys doing to self-soothe? Have you found something that works for you that is healthy? As I said, there are some things that are unhealthy. People drinking too much, people arguing too much, people watching too much TV, sleeping, quite frankly, too much. Those are things that are not helpful. But there are some things that are helpful in terms of stress busters, right? Gwinnetta says, increase exercise 100%, only watch the news every other day, plan and suit up for my time when I'm out in the market. So protecting yourself. This causes me to be most stressed and other folks not being safe. Quiet time, being deliberate about task accepted. Awesome. So that's in. Oh, and above all, pray. Gotcha. Those are wonderful things. I appreciate you sharing that, Gwinnetta, because there is a lot of anxiety for people, that anticipatory anxiety that we talked about when people are actually going out into the community and seeing people not really taking it seriously, or people who just are fed up because they're experiencing that cabin fever or that quarantine fatigue. They're going out and they're not always protected. And then that makes the people who are doing what they need to be doing what they need to do more anxious. So we have to figure out the things and at least protecting ourselves, if you will, keeping our social distance. Hopefully that helps. Michelle says, morning prayer and Bible devotions, exercise at least 3 to 4 times a week, tea time with music and candles, journaling. And I am proud to say that I purged and organized my home, and I took about 6 weeks, but so rewarding, peaceful, and much more space. Oh my goodness.
This is your list.
Your list is my list. And by the way, I started out purging earlier in this process. And
Michelle,
then
your
stopped.
list is Argie's list. Like spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. Thank you. So you, I think that this inspires us. And this is why we have these quarantine talks. And this is why we have our crew. We want to lift each other up. We want to speak life into each other. And when we hear that we're actually doing these things, guess what? We know that we can continue to do it, right? We're doing it. We got to encourage each other. So thank you, Gwinnetta and Michelle, for reminding Michelle specifically for reminding me that there's still work to be done for me, the therapist, right? I can continue to still do the journaling and, the music and the candles, all those things, and the purging. That's really key for me because, as I often say to my husband, that we function differently in our open and shared space. And I believe that everything has a place. Everything has a place. So it actually makes me anxious when things are out of place. And I had to learn to relax my expectations when I got married, because now I live in the house with someone who is not so tidy.
Okay, here's the deal. All right. I'm not a dirty person. I'm just not as organized as Archie is. So, I leave stuff out. I'm going to come back and get it in a moment or soon. So if I hide it away.
No. Okay, Morgan.
Wait, it has. What happens?
He doesn't come back and get it soon.
And you can never find it because she's like a squirrel. She squirrels everything away, and you can't ever find that darn thing. I'm like, no.
Okay, so now I'm going to tell him, Morgan. Now I'm going to tell him, Morgan. So Morgan, so you all let me know if you all think it's appropriate to go into the kitchen and open up all the cabinet doors and all of the drawers and then just leave them there, right? And then go watch TV or sports or whatever, and then use the excuse that, I felt like I was going to go back in there, so why should I close it if I'm just going to go back in there, right? That's his rationale for leaving every cabinet door open and every drawer while he's not in the kitchen using it.
I don't need every cabinet, and I just, oh gosh. Anyway, I'm not going to win the argument. It's okay. It's all right. I have my way of doing things. She has her way.
By the way, he has a coat rack too. He has a coat rack that when you come in our door, that's where his coats are. And as opposed to that, he comes past his coat rack and past my coat rack and then leaves his coat on the banister for days. And then when I move it, he says, why'd you move my coat? I was going to go back out. I was like, we're in quarantine. you're not going back out, right?
Oh gosh,
You're not going back out.
You're killing me.
So,
You're killing me.
your excuse has
Oh
hold
my
more
goodness. Anywho,
you
you leave
want
the
to
car
come back on.
on the banister. It's not like the end of the world. It's like, oh my God, I
I
made
said,
this
no, that's not appropriate.
major offense. It's like, I'm like a criminal. Jeez. Anywho, I'm out, y'all.
So since Morgan came on, I had to tell on him. Oh, this is funny. Yeah, I've learned to relax a little bit. But as I said, as I said to Morgan, we're gonna be, Lord willing, this little old couple, probably, hopefully, Lord willing, 80, 90 years old. And Morgan thinks that I'm going to give up fussing about him leaving things everywhere, but I'm not. I told him the other day, you're not going to wear me down. So you're not going to wear me down. As long as I have breath in my body, if things are out of place, I'm going to speak on it. So Morgan's like, I'm not trying to wear you down. It's going to be okay. Just relax. Just relax. I'm like, it makes me anxious when stuff is all over the place. So that's my stuff. Michelle says, oh my goodness, I totally understand. My husband is the same way. I must say he was motivated to get his man cave together. Laugh out loud. Good. Oh, Morgan.
You got your glass now. You got to get on. I have my space, right? I have my space. Why does she have to control my space? It's my man cave. It's my man cave. Stay the heck out of that. But no. What do I call Archie? He's the environment bully. He's the environment bully. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
So,
hey.
Morgan calls me the environment bully. However, that's not, well, it is kind of true. I am a little bit of an environment bully. I will own that. However, Morgan believes that his man cave is everywhere. That's the problem. If it was just his messy man cave, wherever that is, that would be fine. I would leave that alone, right? But shared space needs to be respected, and everything needs to be in its place. Now, I will admit I am a little bit of a obsessive compulsive person when it comes to things in their place. However, we had a pact. We did early on, and I just don't think he ever really kind of abided by it, if you will. So anyway, we're going to talk probably a little bit more about this when we come on as a couple. I think that that's something that we're going to specifically do to talk about the challenges that couples face in the midst of a quarantine, because although we do this every day, don't be fooled. We work hard. We work hard to stay connected. We work hard to keep our level of communication up. We challenge each other on a regular basis. It's probably every day that I say, that sounded better inside your head, didn't it? And that's my little thing that I say to Morgan, like that. Could you try to say that again in a way that I can receive it? Or, I may say something or have something on my mind. And by the way, ladies, everything that we think doesn't necessarily need to be said. And so I will send myself to my office on a regular basis when I feel like, okay, we need some distance, because in the past, you'd be able to go out. You go to work, your job, they go to their job, you come back. Now being in the house all day, 24/7 with, whether it be your partner, whether it be your children, whether it be yourself, we have to recalibrate and we have to level up on our awareness of one another, of ourselves. When we're a little cranky, qualifiers are good, by the way, guys. If you're having a bad day or you're just a little irritated or agitated, why not just say that? Just say, before you get into the conflict, hey, I'm a little bit irritable today. So if I say something off the cuff, or if I'm a little distant, it's not you, it's me. And I'm going to just kind of stay over here until I get myself together and I'll come back out. If you do that, then the person's not leaving it up to assumption that something else is going on. What are your thoughts about that? Have you done that? Have you needed to do that? It's 10:49, so we got to call Patty. Yeah, I forgot to tell you. Yeah.
There you go.
My bad.
Anyway.
We got a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah, just so I need some love. Deborah Weber says, I've never been so happy to live alone in this time. Okay. Allison says, I was just thinking Morgan is marking his territory. I get, hey, I dogs do. I don't know. His territory.
Well, I wish he would keep it. You know how dogs have one little space? They'll keep it in his little space to mark the territory then. But anyway, I don't know. I rag on my husband. I love him. I thank him so much for just being my biggest cheerleader and for me. And I believe that we are designed for such a time as this. We've done extremely well to be in the home together for these 9 weeks, if you will. And I wouldn't want to be quarantined and safe in the home with anyone else. So Morgan, I thank you for being my husband and my biggest cheerleader and being behind the scenes and, just being the one that challenges me to become the best version of myself. I do not take that lightly, and I appreciate it, babe.
Thanks, babe. Thanks, babe.
All right. So now that we got our love fest over in this public forum, and Charlotte says living alone isn't always good. Sometimes we all have our challenges, no matter what dynamic we're in, and this is why we do these quarantine talks, so that we can process out what's going to be helpful for us. So we are going to transition. We're going to have a quick break, and then we're going to come right back and wrap up. So stay with us. Being so supportive. So listen, this has been a great conversation on stress busters and ways to relieve. We've talked about self-soothing. We've talked about setting the atmosphere. We've talked about what things we can do to help each other. And we've talked specifically about Slack, right? SLACK. So the last thing I ask you guys to do,
Remember that.
remember that, right? SLACK. Remember that, and do something, a random act of kindness for someone, and be kind to yourself. All right. So this has been the Courageous Conversations Connect space, where we have our quarantine talks. Share this with other people. Go onto the YouTube page. Hit subscribe and hit the notification button, please. And also go to Facebook and bell, hit the notification bell. Morgan's on this all the time. I use the wrong language for certain things, so please forgive me. Go over to Facebook as well and type subscribe in the, what is it? Babe. I wrote it down. The message box, and type subscribe, and that allows you to get your notifications as well as your special events and your promotions and things like that. So we appreciate you guys. If no one has told you today, we love you. There's nothing you can do about it. We'll see you tomorrow for our quarantine talks. Have a beautiful day on purpose, from our hearts to yours.